So, Marcel the Shell with Shoes On was directed by Dean Fleischer-Camp, and it stars Jenny Slate as the voice of Marcel. And first of all, for those of you who don't know, this film is based on a series of short films that were made by both of them, Dean Fleischer-Camp and Jenny Slate, around a decade ago. And I will start off by saying that I had never heard of these short films before this film was announced. That said, I saw them recently in preparation for this movie, and I really liked them. I thought they were extremely charming, and yeah, just a lot of fun, and, little, silly, funny short films that I really enjoyed. That said, after seeing those short films, knowing that there was a feature-length film coming out based on these short films, I was a bit hesitant and I was a bit worried because I didn't know how well those short films would translate into a feature-length film. Like, the short films are very meandering, they're very plotless. You're basically just spending time with this little seashell called Marcel, and yeah, you hear this shell talk and, tell you about their life and what they do in their day-to-day life. But it's not really plot heavy, and I would never have seen those shorts and been like, oh yeah, this one, let's make a film about this one. So yeah, I was a bit concerned, and coming into this film, I didn't know if they were gonna, force a contrived plot into this story just so that they could pad in a 90-minute runtime. I didn't really know what they were gonna do. That said, I was very pleasantly surprised, and I thought Marcel the Shell with Shoes On was a great, great film. So this movie, for those of you who don't know, it follows a cute little shell with shoes on, and his name is Marcel. And, throughout the film, you follow this character as he looks for his missing family. And right off the bat, the first thing I want to mention is the studio behind this film, which is A24. For those of you who don't know, A24 is also the studio behind other films such as Hereditary, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Moonlight, Lady Bird, Uncut Gems, Ex Machina, and many, many, many more. And I'll start off by saying that I really love A24. I think A24 films are very interesting, and, they have this special quality that whether you love or hate an A24 film, you will never regret watching them. A24 films are very interesting in the way they blend genres and in the way they blend different genres and different moods and different themes together. They also tend to challenge traditional conventions associated to cinema and associated to Hollywood cinema specifically. And the best A24 films are also extremely thought-provoking and extremely, extremely memorable. I firmly believe that Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is one of those great A24 films that I will remember for the rest of my life. That said, this is extremely different from most other A24 films. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On is an extremely small film with an extremely small scale, with an extremely little story, which makes sense, because in the middle of it all, you have an extremely little character who is this little cute shell called Marcel. This is a film about celebrating the little things. This is a film about finding beauty in the mundane. This is a film that is very slow, and some would even call it uneventful, but in a way I just found it charming, and in a way I just thought that, those things is what made this film so, so special. You shouldn't come into this film expecting a complex narrative with twists and turns, because that is not what this movie is. You should come in expecting to spend some time with one character, and his name is Marcel, and spending time with him is frankly delightful. Another element that I would like to highlight when it comes to this film is the fact that the whole movie is told using the mockumentary style. In this film, you follow this aspiring filmmaker who stumbles upon Marcel and then decides to film a documentary of this little shell with shoes on as he looks for his family. And I thought the idea of making this whole movie a mockumentary was an extremely inspired idea, was very, very funny, and it allowed for some hilarious gags and for some very funny moments. That being said, let's move on into our next element of discussion, which is Marcel, the main character, the protagonist. And when it comes to Marcel, I will just say that I found him extremely, extremely charming. The character design is great, it's extremely minimalist, but also very, very genius. And the voice acting by Jenny Slate was absolutely phenomenal. I think she killed it. She kicked it out of the park with her performance of Marcel. Her voice acting was great. It was sweet. It was tender. It was soft. It was nice. It was very, very charming. That being said, I need to talk about another character from this film, and that is Marcel's grandma, who is Grandma Connie. And I thought this character was great. It really touched me. It really left an impact. Grandma Connie, throughout the film, she is just extremely sweet, extremely kind, very tender, very selfless, and very, very caring. Throughout the film, she wants nothing more than to see her grandson succeed, and that really touched me and that really connected with me. She reminded me a lot of my grandmother, and yeah, I really connected with all of her scenes and all of her discussions with Marcel. That said, Grandma Connie is not the only member from the Marcel family that I would like to highlight. I need to mention every other member from Marcel's family, because I thought they were all really, really great. Even though we don't really get to spend much time with other members of his family apart from Grandma Connie, their designs are amazing. They are very creative. They are very visually appealing. They are very charming. They're very unique. And yeah, they're just cool additions to the film that make this world seem a lot richer and a lot, cooler, I guess. So in conclusion, I thought Marcel the Shell with Shoes On was an extremely charming film. It is small in scale, but big in heart. And if I were to give it a score from 1 to 10, I would give it an 8 out of 10, which means I think this film was absolutely great. So yeah, that's it for my review of Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. If you watch it, let us know what you think in the comments below.